man was not a gender.
Yes.
Man was an agenda because
Yes.
God didn't bless him
Yes.
only so that she could submit to the blessed one.
Yes.
God didn't bless her
Yes.
so that he could submit to the blessed one.
Yeah.
God blessed them, and that was why he could say, submit one to another.
Yeah. What's your message to that person who is in that? They feel like, man, life is just life and right now.
It's not a race between you and anybody else.
Yeah.
It's your race. Everybody has their own race. And so for me, 3 things that are going to really, you need to deal with to be able to win in a hurdle race is the following. Number 1,
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our Winning in Life podcast with PT. Trust you've been winning. If you haven't, definitely going to learn 1 or 2 things today to get that started. But today we have such an amazing guest. We've had him before on the Winning in Life podcast. Sounds like you all really liked him the last time. I'm pretty sure you'll like him again. If you missed the first one, please go watch it. But today we have such a great friend of mine, a brother, big brother, my mentor, my pastor, just one of those great people all around. Help me make welcome the venerable, the man, the myth, the legend, whatever you want to call him, Mr. Fela Durotoye. I call him Sir FD or FD for short. FD, welcome.
it is, look, there's some things that people say because they're in front of a mic or an audience or something.
Yes.
But when I say that I'm with my favorite person,
Appreciate that.
you know that is true because I tell you that when I'm not on any mic.
Yes.
And for those who know this man well enough, he's not just a host. I think that truly you're probably one of the best human beings that I've ever met.
Thank you.
I speak that from my heart and speak the truth as I know it before God.
I appreciate
I
that.
really want to use this moment to also just appreciate you and appreciate all the ways in which you're helping many people, including myself, win and stay winning. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Wow, thank you. So the last time we talked about a winning mindset, talked about winning in the workplace. We touched on relationships, right? Yes, iron sharpens iron, but how to bring the right people, how to attract the right people, and a whole lot of other things. I'm not gonna give it all up. So
we had too much fun.
Anybody
that hasn't seen that,
yes,
no matter what you do, please watch this one.
You have to.
Watch all the series. Watch everything.
Yes. So today we're gonna talk a little more in the family space, right? You're a father of 3 amazing sons, young men, and I've watched them grow. Right? I don't know how you did it yourself and TFD, Ms. Tara, but I want us to touch on that a little bit. I know 2 are in college now or university, and the 3rd one just started in the fall. So you guys are going to be an empty nester. So let's start from the beginning, right? Because without your entire them 3 boys don't come, right? And I know you to be such a great husband. I mean, just the other day we went shopping and watching you get your wife an outfit was great. But if I can put you out there a little bit, you were like a little child. You was like, when I met Tara 23 years ago, she had on this pants with this. It was a linen pants. There you go. Linen cargo pants. Yeah. And I said, I wanted to relieve that experience. Exactly. Until you bought her something like what you saw. And now I'm looking like, wow, this is just amazing. And I learned in moments like that, right? That 23 years ago, you remember what she was wearing, and you just wanted to reenact that, and you guys are so in love, you take walks together, you do great things. Talk about that marriage journey, right? Because, and I mean, you hear people say things, sometimes marriage is work, and it's this and that, and I tell people, look, marriage is a beautiful thing. And like everything in life, are there challenges? Are there things you have to learn? Absolutely, right? 2 becoming 1, there's that. But man, when 2 are going as 1, it's such an amazing thing, right? And I see in marriages, Bible says how 1 can chase 1,000, 2 can chase 10,000. But sometimes it's 2 chasing 2,000, right? Because you have 1 chasing 1,000, 1 chasing 1,000, and they think, okay, if we kind of add that, we'll be fine. But no, it really should be a multiplication. So please talk about marriage, Mrs. Tara Fela Durotoye, and then we'll talk about parenting a little bit. But let's do marriage first.
Oh wow! I want to say three things, and I pray to God that nobody thinks it's one of those, rhymes.
Yeah.
I
It just sounds stupid to me.
I think that marriage is about an assignment, marriage is about agreement, and marriage is about alignment. I've never said it before. It just occurred to me in less than 10 seconds.
Wow.
In a way, how to. So whilst it is,
we have to unpack that.
Whilst it is how I feel about it, I
Yes.
just have never crystallized it in those words.
Yes.
And so the first thing I remember is, a few years ago, I taught on a message at a marriage seminar. What's love got to do with it?
I like it.
Ooh, and everybody was like, "What do you mean, fella?
Yeah.
Marriage is
Yeah.
love?" I said, "No, I'm not discounting the place of love,
Yes.
but I'm helping you understand that when God created man,
Yes,
God
sir.
created man to win,
Yes.
and it was to win man over. Remember that man was not a gender;
Yes.
man was an agenda."
Yes. We said that last time, by the way.
So man was not man winning against woman or woman winning against man. Man was about mankind,
Yes, sir.
who was made in the image and likeness of God,
Yes.
coming on earth
Yes.
to literally take back the kingdoms of this world
Yes.
and make them become the kingdoms of our God.
Absolutely.
And so if you don't understand the reason why you are here,
Yes.
and the reason why you're married, I think it was Dr. Miles Monroe, who said, when the purpose of the thing is not known, abuse is inevitable.
Absolutely.
There's nothing you can do. You're going to abuse your wife
Yes.
if you don't understand why your wife is in place with you. So the first thing that you have to do is understand that there is an assignment for marriage.
Yes.
And that assignment has first and foremost to do with the kingdom.
Yeah.
And that mankind,
Yeah.
in his highest capacity of dominion,
Yes.
is where there are they.
Mm.
It says, let them have dominion.
Yes,
The
sir.
Bible says God blessed them. God didn't bless him. God didn't bless her. God blessed them.
Yes, sir.
So God empowered them, but then he now gave them the mandate.
Yes.
And the mandate was be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, replenish it, and then have dominion.
Yes.
And so you realize that every winning marriage must be one where the husband is helping the wife bear fruit,
Yes.
and the wife is helping the husband bear fruit,
Absolutely.
and together they are bearing fruit.
Yes.
But that's not all.
Yes.
The husband and the wife can't be satisfied at the place of just bearing fruit. And remember, fruit is in agriculture, it's called produce. Produce is another word for product.
Yeah.
And so it's not enough for Tara to help me
Yeah.
create a product and let me be able to serve my world
Yes.
with my product.
Yes.
I must also do the same with her, because God didn't bless him
Yes.
only so that she could submit to the blessed one.
Yes.
God didn't bless her
Yeah.
so that he could submit to the blessed one.
Yeah.
God blessed them, and that was why he could say, submit one to another.
Yes, sir.
So submission is not a unidirection.
Yes.
Submission
By
is
direction.
bi-directional.
Absolutely.
Right? But then they also have to then multiply. They have to have the capacity to be able to grow.
Yes.
And to grow the impact and the produce and the things that they're doing,
Yes.
growing in their life. So a working and an effective marriage is where you are helping not only to be productive,
Yes.
but you're helping to grow.
I love it. I love it.
So if I looked at the marriage of, any successful marriage,
Yes.
I must see that both parties are being productive in the
Yes.
things that they believe God is calling them to do.
Yes.
But more importantly, I must see that they're growing.
Yes.
And then it says replenish.
Yeah.
And replenish is about giving back. Replenish is about doing for impact
Yes.
beyond just income.
Mm.
Giving to people who cannot give to you.
Yeah.
So listen to this, guys.
Yes.
A successful marriage
Yes.
is one in which both husband and wife
Yeah.
are helping each other
Wow.
make an impact,
I love it.
influence the world.
Yes.
Do what it is that they're doing for the people who can't give them back anything. And that's how they become true influencers.
Yes, sir.
And so when you look at a hugely successful marriage,
Yes.
there are a couple of leading influencers. And please understand, I'm not saying that they have to be number one in their industry.
Yeah.
They may be going there or not. Because in the end, it's not about who you beat to become number one.
Exactly.
That's not what makes winning.
No.
I mean, there are many people who cheated their way into number one and then ultimately lost the medal. I will not mention the
Yeah.
name of Lance Armstrong. Sorry. But this was a man
Straight fire.
who won 7 Tour de France.
Yeah.
Only for him to lose everything.
Absolutely.
Because
Yes.
he was literally caught cheating.
Yes.
And that would you say that Lance Armstrong was winning?
No.
Well, he may have won, but he wasn't winning.
Yes.
Because winning is about doing the right thing.
Yes.
Winning is about living the right way.
Yeah.
Winning is about leaving a legacy that the people who you love
Yes.
can emulate,
Yes.
and you will be proud that they did so,
Absolutely.
and they will be grateful for the heritage that you give to them.
Yes.
That is what winning is.
Yes.
And so, for me, I think that every couple that are a winning couple
Yes.
must help each other be productive,
Yes.
must help each other grow,
Yes.
must help each other, in a sense, influence their spheres,
Wow.
and must help each other just be a blessing to the world.
Phenomenal. Wow. Everyone who's married, looking to be married, 3 things. You have to understand the assignment of that marriage, alignment, and agreement.
So if I could just quickly wrap up on that.
Yes.
So we talked about that as the assignment in marriage.
Yes.
But then the point is you have to come to a place of agreement. The Bible says, "Can 2 walk together except they are in agreement?"
Yeah.
And now agreement usually requires something called consensus, because it means that I can agree with you not because I believed at the beginning.
Yeah.
I could have a different perspective to
Yes.
you. In fact, guess what? Most marriages are of 2 people who are different, seeking to complete each other, not compete with each other.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah.
I am everything that Tara probably is not,
Yes.
and Tara is
Yes.
everything that I am not.
Yeah.
But guess what? When we come together, then we're everything together.
Yes.
All right. So my point is this: because of who I am, because of my background,
Yeah.
because of my strengths, because of my weaknesses, I have a unique perspective to every issue.
Yeah.
Tara, on the other hand, also is unique
Yeah.
because she has different background, different perspective,
Yeah.
different strengths. So her approach to that issue may be different,
Yeah.
which means we could even have different initial decisions that we have
Yes.
made about this.
Yes.
Agreement is not about holding on to my decision. Agreement is about respecting you enough to listen to
Yes.
your perspective
Yes, sir.
and seeing how I can render my perspective
I
in
like
a way that we can win together.
Yes.
That's what it is.
I like
It doesn't mean that we will not have disagreements,
Yes.
but we can remain in agreement even when you have occasional disagreements,
Absolutely.
because we can talk to each other, we can
Yes.
listen to each other,
Yes.
we can learn from each other, and we can be able to be together. I think we also said that in
Yes.
the last night.
Yes.
I think the third and the most important one is alignment.
Yes.
Because once we can agree on what it is that we're going to, we understand what our assignment is,
Yeah.
we agree on what we're trying to accomplish
Yes.
and the pathway. Most times, like I said, because we're different,
Yeah.
alignment is about giving up so that we can give together.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to
One
say
is yield.
yield.
Yes.
Yield. That's what alignment is. It's not about forcing you
Yeah.
into my lane.
Yeah.
It's about leaving my lane and you leaving your lane so we can come to one lane.
Yes.
And that's what I think is the most important thing.
Absolutely.
We've got to remember there is an assignment. And the
Yes.
assignment is not about winning your husband or winning your wife.
Mhm.
It's about winning the world and
Yes.
the kingdom for God.
Yes. Yes.
And we can do that together
Yeah.
if we are in agreement.
Mhm.
And we have to be in agreement about what we're doing, what
Yeah.
we stand for together,
Yeah.
and what our values are together.
Yes.
I remember when I first met with Tara and we decided we were going to agree, and I said to her, "We have to have a vision statement."
Yeah.
Like, what? I said, because I'm a management consultant.
Yes.
I said, vision statement, mission statement, values. She was like, "What?" I said, she said, "Are we running the company?" I said, "Yes, we are.
And
It's an organization."
Every brother has a vision statement for doing the dishes. Everything needs a plan.
And in the end, we did come up with 10, what I call our personal value codes for winning. Now I'm calling it.
Yes.
And there are 10 of them. It says, 1, make a positive impact on everyone you meet and everywhere you go.
Yes.
And we had to agree with that.
Yes.
And when the 2 of us agreed, we
Yes.
said yes. Then we taught our children that.
Yeah.
Number 2, be a solution provider, not a part of the problem to be solved. Number 3, be a role model worthy of emulation.
Yes.
Number 4, be your best in all you do, particularly the things you're not really good at.
Yeah.
We didn't say be the best, we said be your best.
Be your best.
Number 5, do the right thing at all times, regardless of who's doing the wrong thing. Number 6, value time and make the best use of it.
Yeah.
Number 7, care and show respect to all, starting with your spouse.
Yes, sir.
Through your words and your actions.
Yes.
And number 8, consciously build a great legacy, starting now to the end of the day.
Yes.
Number 9, live a life of integrity and honor.
Yes.
And number 10, make your family, your nation, and your God proud.
Yes.
Once we came into agreement on these values,
Yes.
that agreement started to align our behavior.
Yes.
And we found out that really by the time our first child was about 5 years old
Yes.
or thereabout, we had started to get them to recite.
Yeah.
And as the other ones were growing, they were all reciting. And immediately
Yes.
we say, surely goodness and mercy shall follow us all around. The next thing is I'm an ambassador of the
Yes.
generation. Then we begin to relate those 10 values.
Absolutely.
And what happened was that by the time every one of my kids was 10 years old,
Yes.
they all knew the values.
Wow.
And with the way we knew the values were working,
Yeah.
was that we would start hearing them in conversations saying things
Music.
like, is that how you make a positive impact on somebody?
Yeah.
Or, well, no, did you just show care and respect to me? Or did look at the way you left the table? Is this a way to make a positive impact where you go? That kind of thing. And we realized it was working when they started to use it in conversations.
Yeah.
But I think that when we actually were in awe of how well it had worked was when my third child was made head boy in the same school that his two other brothers were made head boy.
Oh wow!
And the director of the school had called my son to say, "What are your parents doing?"
Yeah.
And my son said to him, "Well, they've given us God and values."
Oh, fantastic!
And lastly, they called to give Tara and I an award
Yes.
for being the first family in 46 years of the school's existence to produce 3 head boys.
Wow.
That I think is a joy.
Absolutely.
But it also speaks to, and it's not an end. There's
Testament
no end to that
amazing
journey.
parenting.
We're still constantly
Yes.
working on it, shaping this, shining that,
Yes.
touching this, breaking that, chipping at this, and all of that.
Phenomenal.
But using the values,
Yes.
to do everything that we do. Because that's how we, remember that the assignment is about raising the next generation of leaders, that we have an agreement on the values, and most importantly, we have an alignment that comes from those.
Yes, sir. Wow, that is so great. Wow. 3 head boys for context, that's class president. And so from the same family, 3 of those. That's such a testament to great parenting. Before I jump into parenting, I want to touch on, I want to pick on a line a little bit on a thread with the marriage, right? So you mentioned how we should submit to one another, right? It's they call it the S word now in marital circles. And I do a lot of premarital counseling as well as counseling for folks who are married. And there's always this chasm, right? There's always this angst and friction. And, obviously we live in the world of, an independent woman, right? 40, 50 years ago, maybe the man was the primary breadwinner and, but all of that has changed. Right. And so now there's a lot of, gender roles, who should do the chores and who does what and who does this. And there's that fight, if I could use the word, sometimes. How would you help a couple who's in that place to use the alignment piece? If I could just go on that a little more. So if someone can really get, something substantive in this. Right? They're married and wondering what is going on here. Right? I tell people marriage is not 50-50. It's 100-100. They are giving everything at every time. Right? And it's a covenant, right? Where you're doing what you've said you're going to do with God. So let's talk about that a little bit, the alignment piece. How do you deal with submission?
I think a very effective marriage is where we're stronger together, happier together, healthier together, and hotter together.
No, I like it.
but together is where our real strength is.
Okay.
And that tells me that the battle is not one against the other. It's the battle of we against me.
The battle of we against me.
Yes.
I like that.
And that is the battle that we must come on top for you to have a winning marriage.
Yeah.
Because only we were the ones that were given the capacity to win. Remember, it's them that was given the win.
Yes, sir.
Or she.
Yes, sir.
Every time you are in a marriage, and it's a very me-focused marriage, there is no way you will battle one another.
Yes.
Because each and every one of you wants to be able to get for yourself.
Yes.
But when we're in a me-focused marriage, it's a completely different one.
Yes.
So I'll give you a practical example of what I'm saying. A couple that had been close to 10 years or so in marriage, literally had come to me and said, we're done.
Yeah.
We're done. We just wanted to, out of respect, just let you know, because we individually think that you are our our mentor.
Yeah.
And even though we love the marriage, it's not working for us.
Wow.
And we think that it would be better for us to be able to. It's like, calm down, guys. Okay, what's going on here? And this person says she does not respect me. And he's trying to force me to change. And I heard there's so many me's. I actually counted in about 3-4 minutes, PT. True story. I must have counted about 21 minutes.
Oh dear.
In just a matter of 2 to 3 minutes.
I'm guessing 0 weeks.
No we in there. So I quickly just held them and I said, just so that you guys know. I'm not sure why I started doing it, but I actually did start counting your needs. And between the two of you, there were about 10 to 11, 12 needs a piece.
Wow.
What I didn't hear was I didn't hear an us for a moment.
Yeah.
I didn't hear a we.
Yeah.
I didn't hear an our. I heard mine. I heard me. I heard, but didn't hear any of those things.
Yeah.
Guys, do you recognize that marriage is not a cohabitation of two me's? Marriage is a habitation of one we.
I love it.
One we.
I love it.
And so I said, okay, so let me start by asking, what do you think that your wife will make your wife happy in marriage? What do you think? Just think when she got married, what did you think? I said, write it down. I said, what do you think she's looking for in marriage? And so she wrote it down. I said, what do you think he's looking for in marriage? She wrote it down. I said, okay, good. Write what you want from marriage. Wrote it down. Write what you want from marriage. Wrote it down. PT. Listen a while. True story. We listen to both sides. What this person thinks his wife wants, what he wants, what this one thinks her husband wants, what she wants. It was exactly the same.
Oh dear.
Exactly. So then I said, okay, so I don't get it. How can both of you want the same thing? And then you guys are me. And they said, for Ebdi, we can sleep now. We don't, I said, okay, can you tell me what you are willing to do? Start, stop, more or less. I said that to make this happen. And you write down what you're willing to do, start, stop, more or less. Then go and say, what would I like my wife or my husband to start, stop, more or less? In other words, what do I want them to start? What do I want them to stop? This whole thing took about 2.5 hours, this session. And once again, PT, I tell you no lie. God bears my witness. Same thing.
Wow.
And I asked them, so is there anything that you want this one to start that you don't want to start?
That is not there.
He said, so what's the problem?
Wow.
He says, we just weren't looking at each other. We were looking only at ourselves.
Oh, wow.
We stopped looking at each other. We started looking at the mirror.
Yes, sir.
And so what the two of them decided to do was to start focusing on each other.
Yes.
Now realizing that they had an agreement on what they wanted.
Yes.
And then they were supposed to come back to me about 3 weeks later. Don't forget, they were already signing up for divorce. I didn't see them 3 weeks later. Maybe I now finally saw them about 2 months later. I said, what happened to you guys? You guys didn't come. They said, we don't need you. We don't need you anymore. And the we's were, we're doing all right. We're fine. We're making progress. All of a sudden, there wasn't me, my.
Yeah.
It was about we.
Yes, sir.
A strong marriage.
I love it.
Is the cohabitation of one we.
Yes, sir.
Not two me's.
I like it. I like it. So if you're in that place of two me's cohabitating, you need one we. Absolutely amazing. I love it. Wow. FD, that was amazing. Amazing and a lot. But thank you so much. That really helps a couple, just thinking we, right? But
we over me.
Yes, we over me. And something I realized, as a matter of fact, good segue, right? We over me. Starting out in that place, because sometimes I see a lot of people who, in a sense, might not be ready to make that switch from me to we. And I think sometimes it's because they haven't fully understood winning in life in certain areas. But I think really, when you're winning in life, winning in marriage, again, is inevitable, like we've said. So let's talk about life, right? And this is winning in life. For someone who maybe they want to get married, and I use that because it could be so many other things, maybe in business, a new career, or health, whatever it is. What would you say if you could just kind of crystallize the winning in life message, because life is not a straight line. And I think sometimes, I heard someone say it's not so much what happens, is how you respond to it, right? And there's this, people say life is lifing, right? Or life just happens. What's your message to that person who is in that, they feel like, man, life is just lifing right now. What do I do? How do I come out of this funk?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think that one of the ways to look at it again is to remember that, in the end, winning will always be defined by the reason why you're doing what you do.
Yes.
One of the reasons why I believe I'm doing what I do is tied to the pleasure of God.
Yes.
So everything I do, I kind of like, will this make God happy?
Yeah.
Will it not?
Yeah.
And when I look at it, so I almost always have to look at life through the lens of God.
Yeah.
That's the way I do it.
Yes.
So something we said in the last episode, and then I'll tie to. We said when God made man, man was not a gender. It wasn't male or man was not man or woman.
Yes.
Woman was the concept of man. It was Adam that called Eve woman. God never called Eve woman. Let's be clear about that. So the first thing is, man was not a gender. Man was an agenda. Was the human. And when you think about the human, then I think the analogy that quickly comes to me is the human race.
Yes. But
the human race is not the kind of race that we typically see in the stadium where you have different guys running, each one of them running, and then whether it's a Caucasian, Asian, either Hispanic, Black, it's not all of those things. Yeah. The human race, the way I like to define it, is the race of humanity. And listen to this, it's not a race between you and anybody else, it's your race. Everybody has their one race, but it's not. Let me put it this way: it's a huddle race. Yes. And anybody who's ever watched, athletes who are running the huddle race means that it's a race where huddles are placed, and you have to jump over each huddle to be able to get to the finish line. Yes, sir. And so for me, 3 things that are going to really, you need to deal with to be able to win in a huddle race is the following. Number 1, you need to deal with doubt. And if you look at everyone who is about to run, and they're on that starting mark, their head is down, and it's almost like I feel like they're talking to themselves, and they're trying to overcome that battle. Will you win? Can you win? I don't think you can. And so they're not talking to anybody. There is no one about to win a race. Especially even the huddle race that is talking to the next person. They're constantly focused talking to themselves. So I think the first thing is about doubt. The second is that you will have difficulty, and that's where the huddles are. And those difficulties are going to be placed in your way in different ways. Each one of those difficulties is asking you to do one and the same thing. Rise. Yes, sir. That's the only way you can win in a huddle race. You have to rise above the difficulty. Absolutely. You have to rise above the difficulty. And to do that, remember what we said? You must be willing to listen, you must be willing to learn, and you must be willing to lead. And then the last one that I find out everyone who runs a race is dealing with is the distraction. You can't be looking left or right at the people, the crowd, whether they're cheering or jeering. It doesn't matter. You remember that, listen, my race is right ahead of me. Winning is every step I take, every hurdle I overcome. And when I cross that line, then I have won. But I'm winning through the journey. Winning is a process. Winning is, hopefully by God's grace, when you are done winning, you will have won. And one for me is being able to literally get to the end of my life. And I'm grateful for the impact that my life has made. I'm grateful for the legacy that I'm leaving behind. My kids. I'm grateful for the reputation and the open doors that my name can create for the next generation and the subsequent ones. But most importantly, I'm grateful to hear, well done, my faithful son. You have finished your race. You've run a great race. You finished it. Now enter into your rest. And I think that is the most important part of the race. That's where I really get my medal. Wow, that is so It's good. The medal of rest in eternity, of the rousing applause of angels. That's what I want to hear. On this side, it's about being able to be sure that I've done the right thing. Absolutely. It's like being able to be sure that I'm leaving the right legacy behind. But to do that, every day I
Yeah.
must overcome doubt.
Yes.
I must rise above difficulty.
Yes.
And I must focus against all distractions.
Distractions.
Whether it's for me or against me.
Wow.
Every distraction that is calling my attention away from focusing on my finish line.
Yes.
Too many times people,
Yes.
and I know that we actually did have a conversation
Yes.
even at some point in time.
Yeah.
Too many people talk about the things that don't matter.
Yeah.
Too many people have comments about things that don't touch on their. You have an opinion about somebody who doesn't even know you.
Yeah.
That's a distraction.
Yeah. And losing time on
And
the
you're
things you
losing
should
time.
be
Yes,
doing.
and people get into arguments and fights about the things that have no impact on their destiny.
Yeah.
Stay focused.
Yeah.
Be clear about your race. Be
Yeah.
clear about your vision. Be clear about your goals. Be clear about your pathway.
Yeah.
Overcome self-doubt.
Yeah.
Overcome the kind of doubt that other people will throw at you. Rise above the difficulties that will come. Every difficulty is calling you to rise above it.
Wow.
And lastly, just stay focused. Don't be distracted by the people who are cheering or jeering at you.
Yes.
It doesn't matter.
Wow.
Stay focused.
That is so good. So good. I mean, I think the distraction one probably gets the most people.
But especially in today's social media world,
it's ridiculous.
Where one person who
It's
one
behind the
person
computer
just
somewhere,
has
control
and then they just say something and they want to get as many likes or as many comments against many of those things
and
are not even
messes up your day.
Absolutely.
And so I was reading something how in pilot school they never tell the pilots in training, watch out for that, don't hit that building, because those words is like when they hear it, chances are they look there, and what you're looking at, ultimately you're staring towards.
Absolutely.
And so for them this is the charted course. Yeah. If you follow this path, you will get to destination.
Oh, PT, let me share with you this, and I know that we're wrapping up now, but there's a reason why God in His infinite mercy pointed your feet in the direction of your eyes.
Oh, wow.
Where you look to, you go to.
Yes, sir.
So the truth about it is, when you look to the crowd, you go to the crowd.
Yeah.
When you look at everything that distracts you is calling your attention.
So
let me put it this way: everything that distracts you is trying to attract you.
Yes.
And so the battle, the winning,
yes, sir,
is staying focused.
Yes.
Over distraction.
Yes.
Is rising.
Yes.
Over the difficulty.
Absolutely.
And is winning over the self-doubt.
Oh, thank you so much, Eddie. That's phenomenal. Phenomenal. The reason why men fail, guys, is broken focus. So if you're going to win in life, you have to overcome doubt, self-doubt many times.
I can, I
right?
must, I will.
I can, I must, I will. You get in that race, must overcome the difficulties by rising. Things are going to happen. There'll be opposition and challenges, but you can rise above. And most especially, stay away from distractions. Remain focused on your assignment, and you will win in life. Thank you so much, FD. One last question before we go. If you have for me, let me flip the script. I always ask my guests, is there anything you ever wondered about PT?
PT.
Yes, sir.
How do you stay so kind?
Oh.
And God knows, I don't even have a spare word for to throw around for what's that thing called? Flattery.
Yes.
I don't have
that.
I need all the words. I need all the words that I can to be able to fulfill my lifestyle. So if I throw a word, I'm very intentional.
Yes.
How do you stay so kind and
Wow.
so good? And so I have not yet met in the 12 or so years that we've known each other. I haven't heard you say an unkind word to someone. I've never heard you say an unkind word about someone in 12 years.
Wow.
How do you do it?
Amazing. No one has ever asked me that. Let me start. Let me start today.
Or is it only for me? Make sure you know. But I've been with you too long for you to know what.
I've heard of kind before, but no one has ever asked me that. But honestly, I try to keep things simple, and I'll explain when I say that. So when reading scripture, where Jesus says all of scripture is summarized in love God and love your neighbor as yourself.
Oh, wow.
And so many times I always try and say, okay, the love God part, I think sometimes everyone can claim they love God. How we see that is how you show that love to your fellow human being. And so many times for me is, if God is dealing with this person, what would it be like? How do you leave that impact that, no matter how long you meet them for, they remember you. And I think many times it's just, doing everything you can to be like God. Now, not like God in a prideful manner that I'm God, but to be Christ-like, right? 1 Corinthians 11:1, all one. So it's a good scripture to memorize. You know, Paul says, imitate me as I imitate Christ. And I think in many instances, I'm just like, oh, wow, like if Christ was here, what would he do, right? And he set the same example, you know, when, you know, some guys were like, oh, you know, Jesus, we took care of you. And Jesus said, when I was hungry, you didn't feed me. When I was naked, you didn't clothe me. When I was in prison, you didn't visit me. And they said, oh, no, Jesus, we'll never do that, right? Because most times people like eye service. We only want to be nice to people we know can reciprocate, and people can be nice to us. But Jesus said, if you can't do it for the least of these, then you can't do it for me. And so I try my best just to be in that place where I can help, where I can, you know, just show kindness and show love.
And I remember that I said something in my video preaching on your 40th birthday.
Yes.
I don't know how many years ago it was now.
We'll live that. Yes.
I said something that I had said to you quite a few times. I said, I believe very strongly in my heart that if Christ was coming back, and this time was not looking for a virgin, but was looking for a fully grown body to inhabit, I said there are two candidates that I know Christ will most likely not find any problem being able to just continue with them. I said, my brother, Fela Durotoye, and Peter. Tychus.
I remember that.
I think that undoubtedly both of you are two of the best human beings I've met.
Absolutely.
And two of the most Christ-like human beings that I've met. So I want to say thank you.
Wow, FD, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate that. Guys, we're definitely going to have some FD again because this was just too good. And I know there's so much more to talk about, but it's okay. We're out of our episode time. But make sure you like, make sure you share, make sure you subscribe. That's the best way to know FD is coming back. We're going to be talking about all things winning in life. FD is a winner. I'm a winner. And, you know, this is our winner circle all together. Okay? So until the next one, God bless you. Keep winning in life. I'll see you next time.